Good afternoon. Hopefully you can hear me okay and there isn't an issue with the volume. Right, I know that a lot of people have been following me on social media recently, and I just want to say thank you for that. And thank you for your questions and for your comments. Only the polite ones, though. Anyone who's been abusive, I have removed those comments. And here is kind of where I am at the moment. Right, what I have in front of me is a letter from the Department of Work and Pensions. Sorry, I'm just making sure that none of my confidential information is visible, because obviously confidentiality is very important to everyone. So this is what it says. Hopefully you can read it. It says personal independence payment about your request for a reconsideration. Right. So this is what they call a mandatory reconsideration. So basically what happened was they stopped my benefits, like I explained. I was given no warning, no notification, no nothing, just a letter saying your benefits have stopped effective immediately. And now it's down to me as the claimant, if that is the right word to use, to say why I disagree with why they've now stopped my payments for personal independent payments. Now, I've just spoken to Citizens Advice, and what they've told me is that they cannot help me with a mandatory consideration. They can help me, this is Citizens Advice people, they can help me if I have to appeal a mandatory reconsideration, but it is down to me to find somebody else to help me with a mandatory consideration. So basically what that means is, sadly, due to lack of funding or what the remit of what Citizen Advice Bureau are allowed to do to help the general public, what that means is anyone who is sick or vulnerable or disabled or may even speak another language, English might not be their first language, Citizens Advice cannot help you with a mandatory consideration at all. They can help you with your appeal. So if after this mandatory consideration is done by me, if then Citizens Advice have to get involved because the Department of Work and Pensions have still wrote to me and said, we do not believe that you are disabled enough to get personal independent payments, then they will step in. So at the moment, I'm still looking at another 6 to 8 weeks without benefits. And the only benefit at the moment that has been stopped is personal independent payments. Now, this is where it gets complicated. If you have your benefits stopped or suspended, you have two choices. You can appeal and then see if you can later try and get paid basically for the money you've lost, or you say, okay, whatever, and then you wait 6 months and you just put in a new claim. But by the time everything's been done with me appealing, it's already going to be another 6 months. So again, it's like, well, I'm appealing, but then I can still put in a new application. And what I've been advised to do in the past is do both. So that even if my appeal is denied, I still have a new claim. Otherwise, what you then have to do, which is really confusing, is wait another 6 months after your appeal has been refused before you can reapply for personal independent payments again. which means you are looking at losing benefits for anywhere between 12 to 18 months. That does not mean that these people, including myself, who are sick or vulnerable or disabled, who are in receipt of these benefits before they were stopped, or still should be entitled to these benefits, that they have got better all of a sudden overnight. That's not how disabilities work. But that is how the government are looking at it. Now, when they assess you over the phone, they say to you, personal independent payments has got absolutely nothing to do with your illness or disability. It is to do with how you process and basically go through your daily life, and how does your illness or disability affect you. So, like I said to them on the phone, well, why are you then asking for my past medical history when you have just asked me for the last 6 months of my life, how has my illness and disability affected me? Well, I've already told you that I'm on medication. Yes, but that's got nothing to do with how it affects you on a daily basis. That's just you taking medication. And I'm like, well, if I didn't have an illness or disability, I wouldn't be taking medication. So again, it's that sort of catch-22 situation that they're putting you in. Now, on the letter that they've sent me, this is the name of the letter, they haven't asked me at all how my illness or disability affect me on a daily basis. What they have now asking for me to do is send in supportive evidence of my illness or disability to basically prove to them I'm not lying. And they have put a list. Hang on, let me just fold this over as best I can. Right. Yeah, I'm really, really sorry about the quality. I'm doing it off my laptop. It's not a very old one. Sorry, it's very old. I can't afford a new one. Right. So basically, they've listed a number of what they would class appointed or medically certified organizations or departments that work for the NHS that they will now accept medical evidence from. And like I try to explain to them, people that have, like myself, who have a long-term illness or disability aren't always under the NHS or their GP 24/7, 365 days of the year, 7 days a week. That does not mean that we don't have an illness or disability that doesn't affect us on a daily basis, which is why we've put in an application for personal independent payments. So, like myself, I have counselling once a week. So for an hour a week, I have a designated time where someone rings me. I don't go and visit them. I don't have to catch a bus or a train or get in a car. They phone me and they speak to me for an hour in the safety of my own home via the phone. Now, one of the things that Rishi Sunak was trying to say was what they didn't want to do anymore is give people money. And that's fine. Okay, you don't want to give me money, don't. But if they were going to pay for my therapy, or if I had to pay for it myself, mine's actually through a charitable organisation. called Rosa, who basically specialize in a specific type of therapy that unfortunately I could not get through the NHS. I would have to pay for privately. And one of the things that they kind of help me with is my PTSD, which is called post-traumatic stress disorder. If I had to pay for my own clinical therapist, I would have to pay somebody who was qualified and certified somewhere within the region of anywhere from £60 an hour up. Now, personal independent payments, ironically, only give me £60 a week to live on. So if they want to pay for my therapy, it's going to cost the government more money to pay my therapist than what they already pay me, which I then have to use to pay for my travel, for my toileting needs, for my medication that I can't get on prescription, for my clothes that I have, and my bedding that I have to keep having washed by paying for somebody to wash it for me. I get £60 a week to cover me for that. So if Richie Sunak's saying, oh, we're going to pay for your out-of-pocket expenses and not give you money anymore, then already they're looking at £5 a day for travel. That's if I even am well enough to leave the house. They're looking at 60 quid a week for my mental health therapy. They're looking at 20 to 40 pounds a week for them to support me with my toileting needs and health products that I don't get on the NHS. They're looking at £10 an hour that I pay somebody to come and help me clean my house because I physically can't do it myself. And all of that money I do not get from personal independent payments. I get that from other payments that I'm legally entitled to. So I think it was good that I did speak to Citizens Advice today, and this was the main reason for this online video. And it's just so that people who are in the same situation as me or are trying to seek support from a governing body or a charitable organisation, such as the Citizens Advice Bureau, they politely explained to me that they cannot help with a personal independence payments reconsideration application. What they can help me with is if I then have to go to court, which is an appeals procedure, they will fill out the paperwork for me. So anyone like myself who is sick or disabled or has learning difficulties, or maybe even English isn't your first language, and you are in the situation now where you've applied for personal independent payments, it's not just for personal independent payments, all benefits, and then they've said no, we're not going to pay you because of whatever, you now have to request a reconsideration. It is down to you as the individual to ask somebody else to help you, because Citizens Advice will not. And that is what I got told today. So I will see if anyone else can help me. And if they can't, then the only option I will have basically is to send it to appeal. And in my appeal, I will have to write or have somebody write for me the reason as to why I was unable to complete a mandatory consideration on my own was because there was no governing body available to support me with a mandatory consideration. So in the meantime, I'm probably looking at another 6 months, if not 12, before any decision is made. And it's not just me. There are other people out there who are going to be 100 times worse off than me. And some of those people might not even be alive in 12 months' time. And this is what the government are hoping. They're thinking, yeah, brilliant. We're not going to pay Mrs. Jones, who's been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, because in 6 months, she's probably going to be dead. So we don't care if she's puking her guts out and shitting in a bucket by her bed because she can't get to the toilet, and has to pay for somebody to come in and help her because the Macmillan nurses only have enough funding to support her for 2 hours a day, which is what we were told would happen with a friend of mine when they got diagnosed with cancer. She's not even going to be well enough to appeal. Meanwhile, the government are saying, oh, we've saved £20,000 on people claiming personal independent payments. The only reason they are saving this money is because they are deliberately disability discriminating against people who are sick, who are vulnerable, and in need of someone to help them. So all of these people are basically being victimized by the government because they haven't got anyone to help them. And unfortunately, the Citizens Advice Bureau can't help them as much as they want to. Don't get me wrong, I've had some really bad experiences with the Citizens Advice Bureau. I actually was made homeless because the advocate they appointed me did too little too late to help me. But during my appeal for my personal independent payments back in 2021, they were absolutely amazing, and I cannot fault them. They literally held my hand. They didn't physically hold my hand because they wouldn't have been allowed, but they were with me every single step of the way. They phoned me, they wrote to me, they emailed me, they spoke on my behalf. They were absolutely amazing. And what you've got to realize is that these are people that are volunteering their time. They have a limited training, in my opinion. They don't have as much training as I feel they should have. And again, that's down to funding. But they are absolutely amazing, Citizens Advice. And even though I've had some bad experiences with them in the past, they are the first organisation that I would recommend or suggest anyone speak to if they have any problems. Now, I'm going to leave it there, and I thank you so much for watching. But again, the main reason for this was to make people aware that if they are in the same situation as me and having a reconsideration of any benefits, be it universal credit, personal and independent payments, income support allowance, housing, whatever, Citizens Advice, unfortunately, are not able to help you with a reconsideration application. So what I've now got basically is 4 weeks, which is an unrealistic expectation for anyone, to reprint out all of my medical documents, all of my medical history, and send it, recorded delivery, and signed for. That's what you need to do, which is going to cost me money, not the government, me, and reissue it to the Department of Work and Pensions. And then see what they say. So thank you very much for your time again, and thank you for everyone who's been following or messaging. I just feel that too many people are suffering in silence, and people need to be supporting each other through times like this. And if we don't help each other, then what does that say about us as a species or as a society? So I'm going to get off my soapbox now, because I literally only have something like 3 weeks, not 4, because it's from the dates on this letter, which is the 23rd of May. No, sorry. No, it's not even the 23rd. It's the 20th. See, I've just read that wrong now. So basically, I've got from now till the 20th of June to post everything to the Department of Work and Pensions again. Now, here is an example. Obviously, this isn't all my medical history. It's in a folder somewhere. I've got to find it. But that's only half of the letters of correspondence that I've had come through in the last 4 weeks. So, and the good thing about the NHS is they are probably the only people that still actually send you letters via post. So all of this pretty much here that I've just put up to show you is literally only a handful of the letters of correspondence that I have now got to have photocopied and sent to the Department of Work and Pensions. That does not even include my medical history, which proved when I was formally diagnosed, which was back in 2020, or any of the other documentation that I need to send to them to back up the fact that I have a long-standing illness and disability that affects me on a daily basis. And you imagine if that was somebody's information, if they had a long-term, if they'd been diagnosed with cancer, their paperwork's probably going to be 10 times bigger than mine. And then they're going to be expected to reissue that information without any help, any support, without any advocates, unless somebody can be appointed from adult social services or the hospital. And again, even trying to get an advocate through these governing bodies can take up to 6 months, and you are only given 4 weeks to submit that paperwork. So thank you very much for your time and all the best. And I will try and tune in again tomorrow for tea and chat. So if anyone wants, so I can actually drink tea now. I've had my colonoscopy, but my body just feels like it's been put together wrong ever since my procedure, which I've been told is normal. So thank you for everything. I've just had somebody say that their medical history in their country is on the internet. Unfortunately, that's not the case in the United Kingdom. Every single department that you have to see about a medical issue are responsible for keeping hard copies of your medical details. Now, I unfortunately cannot find any copies of any of my medical history before 2012. I have wrote to every department imaginable. I've even contacted previous GP surgeries. And for some reason, all of my medical history before 2012 has disappeared off the face of the planet by the sounds of it. My mental health records are not even kept by my GP. They will have a list of when I have requested to speak to somebody from the mental health department, but any letters of correspondence between me and the mental health team or the crisis team or Avenue Clinic, as it's called in Nuneaton, are not even kept in Warwickshire. And they have given me several email addresses to use. And I have now got to write an email to every single one of these. Then I've got to give them proof of who I am, like a copy of my passport or my driver's license or my birth certificate. And I'm looking at, again, anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks is what they've told me. But realistically, I'm looking at 6 months before they submit anything.
Mom,
I'm okay, I can't have any. But I'm going to have to go because my little one, I homeschool him. So I wouldn't be in my video without a yawn. So I'm going to have to go because it's his lunchtime now and I need to make sure he's fed and watered. But yes, so unfortunately, yeah, I know what you're saying with modern day technology. You know, how come people can't just get their medical records like that? But then if you could get your medical records like that, then it would show how bad security was, and not to mention how easy it is to breach people's data protection. Can you get off my head? I don't like being touched. Sorry, it's my little boy. He's got sensory processing disorder and he likes to touch people all the time. And one of the things he fixates on is my hair. But because of my PTSD, I don't like him grabbing me. And so it's something that we have been painstakingly trying to work through with him to explain to him about good touching and bad touching and how people like to have their own personal space and how you don't just go and grab someone. But unfortunately, again, because of his disability, it's something we're still working towards. So I want to thank everybody again for watching. And if you want to write any comments, have any questions or queries, then please don't hesitate to contact me. All right, thank you. Bye for now.